I cannot believe that I have to sound this alarm. This is the strangest thing, if you ask me, because let's just run it back a little, okay? Let's look at geography right now in our minds. Let's just picture the globe. We've seen Europe that was on fire, having extremely high temperatures. We've seen even South Korea that was experiencing extremely high temperatures. And now America is quite literally on fire. What the heck is going on? If you did not know, wildfires are once again gripping parts of the American West, bringing evacuation orders, dangerous fire conditions, smoke, infrastructure concerns, and renewed questions about how prepared American communities are for the uptick in wildfires taking over Washington, in Oregon, taking over that state, taking over California. Obviously, it's affecting Canada as well. I think I have first seen it affect Canada more so than America, but now it's hitting the western side of the U.S. pretty bad. Now, I'm a Midwest girl, okay? I am from Ohio. It happens to be Columbus, Ohio. So I've not experienced this up close and personal, but I remember even as a teenager coming into being a young adult, I would start to see more fires happening in America, most certainly California, also Canada as well. Technically, this actually falls into our Europe Global Crisis series, where we see Western economies being under divine judgment. There's no other way to say it. I'd love to just like sugar it up for you and tell you it's just a coincidence. Look, this is judgment, okay? This is judgment from on high when these fires continuously begin to happen, especially at the rates that they're just taking out acres and acres and acres of trees. Remember, France, Bordeaux, France, was on fire in such a way that the French people said it quite literally just looked like an apocalypse. Like they thought they were in hell, okay? They thought that they were just in an inferno with no place to go on top of the scorching heat. Now, Arizona, New Mexico, these places get extremely hot, but when you are in an oven, when you're in somewhere that is just so hot and it can destroy everything around you, also displacing your infrastructure, because remember, the fires don't just affect your house or the forest areas. This affects also small businesses that are in the area. This affects your tourism in the area. This can just quite literally dismantle your everyday life to where you have to flee from where the fires are and to move more inland, maybe to somewhere. Maybe you want to go to a Idaho. Maybe you're looking at going to a Montana, a Colorado, those places that are a little bit closer to the west side of America that hopefully are not seeing these fires in these huge instances the way that California and Oregon are at this time. Evacuations and emergency warnings are in place for Washington, where it is hitting like double. Like it's really hitting Washington really bad. It's hitting parts of California really bad. And remember, we just had the cybersecurity alert happen in a northern city in California as well, in Tucson. So it seems like the West Coast is actually just going through a lot right now. Unfortunately, if you are from the West Coast, chime in down below. Let us know how it's feeling, what it's looking like, if you're paying attention to what's happening. Now, if your eyes are closed and you're like, no, I'm just going to the grocery store and pretending nothing's happening, please don't comment. We don't need your ignorant intel. We need to know what's actually going on the ground for people that are understanding these things. I mean, I remember in Columbus, Ohio, when I was a teenager, I worked in a nursing home, and it was so funny. There was this nurse that doubled as a storm chaser. So he would like chase storms throughout Ohio and tell us like how the tornadoes were wreaking havoc in places outside of Columbus. And so it was just interesting because I had never heard of these strong storms hitting in Ohio as frequently, and I didn't even realize it. But because he was a storm chaser, I started to gain that intelligence and understand, oh, it's very dangerous actually outside of Columbus and some of these like rural town areas. So same thing, like if you're not aware of what's happening in your state, you're ignorant to the fact that these things are causing chaos in some of these rural areas and these forests and these places where maybe you don't live, but somebody does live there. Somebody is being affected. Somebody is being displaced. Somebody is looking and saying, wow, I've seen this uptick of fires. I see these cybersecurity issues. I see America's culture is degrading and decaying as a society. Maybe I want to spend some time in Southern Africa. Maybe I want to have a second home base in Asia. Maybe I want to spend some time in Mexico and see something different so that I can diversify a little instead of letting my entire livelihood go up in flames. I'm taking a look at CBS News because I want to get the latest information. This was from August 10th at 11:46 a.m. Spokane, Washington. More than 40 large fires are burning in the West, fueled by severe drought, as over 100 blazes scorch parts of Western Canada as well. The bug fire near Reno, Nevada, has burned, get this, more than 15,000 acres, getting dangerously close to homes, forcing thousands of residents to evacuate over the weekend. Wow, can somebody say flee? In Utah, 2 pilots were killed, may they rest in peace, after their helicopter crashed on Friday while fighting the Widemouth 2 fire, which has grown to more than 100,000 acres. Oh, I did not know this was this bad. So you're getting my reaction in real time the way it is if I would speak to my husband and be like, babe, look at this. This is insane. And in British Columbia, Canada, which borders Washington, by the way, the Bold Range fire burned out of control, doubling overnight as residents raced out. More than 20,000 people were ordered to evacuate the area of Summerland, 150 miles east of Vancouver, and officials say some residents had to be rescued. British Columbia, the province, has a province-wide state of emergency Saturday as more than 100 wildfires burned across the province amid windy weather and prolonged drought. Whew. I'll leave this blog in the description, but this drought, I mean, the world is in total chaos. Did you also see the earthquake in Colombia? I mean, guys, this is... Okay, this is why we are very particular about the geography of the regions that we go to, okay? We have a little bit less risk tolerance because we have 6 children. We'd like to keep those 6 children alive. That's like our goal in life. Our main goal as parents is to have them to be functioning children in society, to also keep the ways of Yah, keep the commands, follow the way of truth, follow Yahusha, which is the light of the world, who came in the flesh. Yahuwah came in the flesh as Yahusha to be our Redeemer, our Savior, and to keep those children on that straight and narrow path. But obviously you can't be on the straight and narrow path if you are caught in the way of danger and just in a dangerous place. Because, I mean, Colombia, 7.4 magnitude earthquake leaves over 100 dead as of right now. And remember the Venezuelan earthquake, the earth is just going through this judgment cycle. And there are parts of the earth that are secret enclaves that are safe from the judgment cycle. If you are understanding of geology and geography, knowing where these fault lines are, and people are like, why don't you go to Colombia? Why don't you go to Brazil? And no, it's on the Ring of Fire. Absolutely not. I don't care if the earthquake doesn't happen for another 5 years, but if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you are now collateral damage to the judgment, that's not beneficial. That's not helpful. No matter how cheap it is, it doesn't really matter. We don't go and find the cheapest places. Our thing is find the safest, most stable, anti-corrupt places that are going to give you 5-10-year residency or enable you to stay there more long-term than a 30-60 days. And that's it. Wow. So the epicenter was in San Jose del Palmar, a community in the rural Choco province, about 250 miles west of Colombia's capital, Bogota. The U.S. Geological Survey and its counterparts in Colombia reported the quake hit at 8:34 a.m. Eastern, followed by a 5.0 magnitude aftershock less than an hour later. You are not alone, Colombian President Abelardo de la Esprella said in a video. Colombia has a president who cares about the people and who will do everything in its power to help them in the most difficult moments. I'm glad that the people who are there that are alive and safe are safe. But yeah, this is literally why you want to think about your geography strategy. That's a part of global mobility that people don't discuss, people don't watch out for. You don't really want to be in fault lines at these times. If you understand the book of Revelations, it says earthquakes are going to come in diverse places in the book of Matthew. And some of those diverse places, just from a scientific perspective, are going to be on these fault lines and these rings of fire. The Ring of Fire is a very huge conglomerate that covers multiple continents, stretching from Northern America, Central, and tips of Southern America through to Japan and the Philippines. If you're outside of those areas, you're less likely to get these very strong rings of fire. But we also have a fault line that exists in East Africa as well. We're aware of that and knowledgeable about that, but it does not quake nearly as much as the Ring of Fire because it's not on the Ring of Fire. That Ring of Fire is the most volcanically active and earthquake active location on planet Earth. So it does behoove you to be aware of those things, because you don't need to be collateral damage. I don't think you need to be collateral damage. Maybe you'd like to be collateral damage. That's your prerogative. You could do as you please, but we do prefer to be a place like a Mauritius, Africa, like potentially Rwanda, like a Ghana, places. There's safe spots in Asia as well. There's just places where you don't see this happen as much, okay? It's just the reality of the situation. Just like a St. Helens volcano that is on the west side that we know is gonna have to explode, the west side of America. It's just okay to be away from these things, to be preparedness minded. Part of that preparedness is, let me be risk adverse and not take a lot of risk on because I have a family, because I'm elderly, because I have whatever is going on with me. Let me think things through that actually make sense. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Let us know if you are in Colombia. If you are, we would be glad to hear from you. Glad that you are doing well. Glad that you're safe. I just can't even imagine. That's very scary. It's just a lot of things that are happening in the Americas right now, because it is that judgment time for the Americas, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Shalom, shalom. I'll see you in the next video.